milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including DeArmond, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by the Good Feet Store, a proud supporter of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For over 25 years, the Good Feet Store has been helping people get back to the life they love without their feet getting in the way. Start your journey at goodfeet.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Thursday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we'll be joined by Alabama broadcaster Chris Stewart.
There is no place any louder than Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and we need them to be an impact in that ball game from before kickoff. Don't wait till it kicks off. We know it's going to be crazy atmosphere. Be calm, be patient getting inside, but absolutely let it loose once you do. And you see that team come out of the locker room for pregame warmups. Give them what they need during that time, and know you're going to do so during the game itself. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing this matchup and to hearing the Bama fans have the impact that I know they can and will have on that contest.
I'll have more in a moment.
This is Christian Miller for the Good Feet Store. I know from playing football at Alabama and in the NFL that if you have foot, knee, hip, or back pain, it can be a huge challenge. The Good Feet Store is designed to personally fit you with arch supports that alleviate and even eliminate your pain altogether. Try them before you buy them. They're in your free, no obligation, personalized fitting, and you can wear them home the same day. So if you're looking to improve your game, the Good Feet Store has you covered. Stop in for a free, personalized fitting today. Roll to victory at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Roll Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome in. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome into the program this morning on a Thursday morning. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the program. You can be a part of the show on a Thursday morning. Welcome in. We're going to get you caught up on college football. There's a lot of news and notes going on. Going to set the table again. We can continue to break down Alabama, Georgia, the big one going on. We got Auburn, Oklahoma. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer. We'll hear from Hugh Freeze. We'll hear from a lot of coaches around the league. So we just kind of been throwing out these little nuggets of stats and information as the week goes on. By the way, in case you are wondering, Alabama, by the way, boasts the best all-time winning percentage in the FBS at home with an 84% winning percentage at Bryant-Denny Stadium since it opened in 1929. That stat goes all the way back to 1929. If you want to guess who has the second best winning percentage at home, it opened up in 1970, by the way. The second best program with a winning percentage at home. Do you care to take a guess on who has it in college football?
In the history of college football?
It just says, according to the Alabama game notes, it just says the second best, the next closest home winning percentage is 82% in college football.
Georgia?
Boise State.
Oh, okay.
82% of their home games. So Alabama is sitting at 84% since Bryant-Denny Stadium. I guess now we got to change it, right? Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama has won 84% of their home games there since 1929.
Well, I mean, like we said, Coach Bryant, near the end of his career, they had a extremely long winning streak in Tuscaloosa until Reggie Collier and Southern Mississippi knocked them off. So it was, they were nearly pretty much unbeatable at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And for a long time, it was Denny Stadium and then was changed to Bryant-Denny, and now it's Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So, yeah, I mean, 84% being the tops in the country. I mean, that's awesome. And the funny thing about Nick Saban's career, he didn't lose many. He had more first-round draft picks than losses overall, but, the majority of his losses were at home.
Yeah.
And in some of those big games. And so he usually always got revenge, and his record in the neutral site games was amazing. And then, of course, we know I always thought his teams were ready to go on the road. He did lose some heartbreakers, but, I mean, they more often than not, they took care of business. And so it's a very tough place to play. And Georgia last won there in 2007. That was actually Saban's first year. They won in overtime with Matt Stafford and those guys. And I heard Steve and Wes on the drive a little bit yesterday with Barbara Dooley, and I think they kind of renewed it under Coach Richt, but Coach Dooley was the one that kind of got the blackout started. But certainly Coach Richt couldn't keep it up.
And lately we've been talking more over the last few seasons because they have met in the playoffs and they have met in the SEC championship game. But has Alabama and Georgia kind of surpassed Alabama LSU in as far as
Yeah, since 2017 they have. I mean, I think everybody understands.
As far as a
that.
rivalry type of series?
I mean, as far as the marquee game in the SEC, yes, since 2017, since Kirby got it rolling in year 2, absolutely with what's at stake. I mean, Georgia and Alabama during Saban's tenure, they only played in the regular season, I believe it was 3 times, and that was in 2007, loss, 2008, beat down. And then 20, and Alabama came back in the second half and won that game impressively. All the other games with Kirby have been either SEC championship or national championship. So this will be the first time they've met really in the regular season. So since he's been the head coach, so that's where it's going to be interesting. And then let me correct myself as well. Alabama met Georgia in 2015. That was another beatdown because Alabama was that was actually one of the last times Alabama was an underdog going into a game until Rick, smartly let his team dance on the midfield and taunt Alabama right before the kickoff, and they proceeded to be annihilated. So, you know what I'm saying? And I actually picked Georgia in that game because Alabama had the 5 turnovers and the gut-wrenching loss to Hugh Freeze and Ole Miss at that time. And I wasn't sure how the Alabama team would respond, but I changed my pick right before kickoff when the guys were jumping up and down on the logo and taunting. It's not something you do. It's stupid. And Georgia paid for that. But so Alabama and Georgia, and again, that was Rick's last season. So it turned out. And so, then Kirby took over. So Saban faced Rick 3 times. And then, as we know, he faced Kirby once in the regular season. All the other ones have been, until Saturday night, have been in the playoffs or SEC championship games with a ton at stake. There's still a ton at stake with this one. I mean, I do think both still have clear paths to the playoff no matter what the result. But the thing about it is, if you win the game in the regular season, psychological edge and then seeding, because certainly more than likely they're seeding. Though I will say Georgia has some huge tests after Alabama. They play Texas and Ole Miss. So, and Ole Miss right now looks like the real deal. Now, they've been extremely impressive over who they've played. Now they've
got Tennessee too.
And you talking about Georgia? Yeah, absolutely.
Georgia is at number 1 Texas,
right? At
number 6 Ole Miss, host number 5 Tennessee.
So they've got 3 huge tests. Alabama's still got to play Tennessee as well on the road.
Right.
We know that, but they don't play Texas this year. They don't play Ole Miss. So they don't have those 2. Now they have to play Oklahoma, but right now I don't know how that's looking because Oklahoma's trying to figure out their quarterback situation and their offensive line's in flux. Their wide receiver core's banged up. Now, Alabama doesn't play them until, the week before the Iron Bowl. So they may iron out some kinks before then. But right now, it doesn't look as daunting as it did before the season. It's kind of funny how all that stuff works out. So, but a lot of people are wishing they play in Mississippi State this year, bro.
Is that the cure-all game in the league now this year? Because Vanderbilt.
They're not saying Vandy this year.
No, that's the thing. We're not saying Vandy is the cure-all game because Vandy will bite you. Is Mississippi State become the cure-all game in the league this year?
We'll see it. And on top of it, they lost their quarterback. Blake Shapen from Baylor. He tore his ACL. We didn't know that at the time that's what it was, that he got, knocked around in that ball game and he left it, and he didn't leave it on a stretcher or anything like that. But it comes out, later that weekend on Sunday, Blake Shapen's out for the year with an ACL. You're like, whoo. He was the only really experienced quarterback they had. It was already bad enough that you're getting Hutzler. But
hustle basic.
Hutzler, Scott. Hutzler.
I know, but it's like you're getting hustled.
By Sunday, you got all those, all those cut ups of being Hutzlered with, all the defensive linemen on one side of the formation. On the other side, there's nobody there but one linebacker and all this stuff. And you're like, what the hell are they doing? We could have asked Brooks Austin that, but I imagine Brooks would have told us. I really haven't started. I haven't tried to break down Mississippi State film right now.
I just looked at Mississippi State's schedule.
Oh my God! They're at Texas this weekend.
They're at Texas.
Yeah.
Then they get a bye week.
Right.
And then they travel to Georgia.
Oh.
And then they welcome Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Then it's Arkansas on the road.
Yeah.
Then they get UMass.
Okay.
And then they got to go to Tennessee.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And then they host Missouri.
Oh.
And then they go to Oxford.
Man. And you think Lane Kiffin's going to let up when he can, whack them by 50?
You look at that schedule, and there's possibly just one win.
I know.
One win remaining for Mississippi State.
You don't see SEC games a lot of times, except for in the past when Vanderbilt's been really bad, but they're not really bad this year. But I was looking at the spread for Texas and Mississippi State yesterday. I think it was 38.5, that's usually reserved for when you're playing UMass or somebody like that, or an FCS school. I was like, wow. State, it's been a long time since Mississippi State was a 38.5. Because let's be honest, this has been until last year when everything kind of fell apart.
Right.
We're talking
a very steady.
No,
ship.
Yeah, we're talking about 7-8 wins, bowl games every year. They definitely aren't 38.5 point underdogs.
38.5 with your over under at 62.5.
Well, that just means they think that Texas is going to score a whole hell of a lot.
Yes.
And the backups for Mississippi State are going to score maybe 10 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Shapen, by the way, before he got hurt, 974 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
He had played pretty well. He was one of the leading top 4 or 5 passers in the SEC. And he's 23 years old. The big topic of the show yesterday was let's opt out and red shirt, and we're not extorting anybody any money. We're going to lie through our teeth and have, UNLV saying one thing and the agent saying another. Who would you believe? I believe I would. The NIL collective of UNLV is who I would believe. I'm not going to believe some scumbag Jay Moore show me the money agent who came back and wanted $100,000 via verbal agreement because sounds like some assistant coach said, we'll get you the money, blah, blah, blah. Give me a freaking break. If the guy hadn't put up the numbers and they weren't 3-0, there's no way he's got the leverage to come ask for money. And then, of course, one of his peckerhead teammates, running back from NC State, decides to leave too. Of course, he's already flopped at NC State.
He said, he made a point to say, well, this wasn't NIL related. Yesterday, after our show.
Stop lying.
After our show, it was like a soap opera yesterday. It was like
what the hell soap is this?
As the World Turns.
Is it what? I don't remember that song like that. I thought it was different. Did they change it?
Oh, this is.
Oh, I guess I didn't watch that a whole lot, except maybe when I was a kid, so I don't remember it. I guess.
I mean, basically, that's what it was like yesterday. It was like as the world turns.
Gotcha.
Yesterday, because I mean, every 5 minutes.
I remember Days of Our Lives. I guess was that McDonald Carey? Was that the guy's name? Okay.
Yeah, but it was like every 5 minutes there was a new update to the whole UNLV saga.
Gosh.
It was like the parents released a statement.
Yeah.
The school released a statement.
I didn't read all of it, but I mean,
but
it seemed like every 30 minutes somebody was releasing something. You know. You know,
it was like
and then after lunch, I saw the Peckerhead running back that said, "I'm leaving. Who cares? You suck anyway. NC State can't. I mean, you know how bad NC State is right now. Do you understand how bad they are?
They're bad."
And then UNLV decides to stay in the Mountain West Conference
instead of going to the Pac-12.
Yeah, whatever. You know, I guess they had some extra cash after some
apparently
of the other
they got
bailed.
promised like $25 million or something like that in incentives to stay.
So UNLV and Air Force stayed. Yeah. You know, well, I mean, we'll talk to John Talty tomorrow. Got in touch with him because he and Brandon Marcello and all these guys and Matt Zenitz, they've been all over this, chasing this thing about UNLV, and I can't wait to kind of bend his ear about it and ask. And then we saw Bear Alexander, since he went from 50 snaps to 20 and decided to skip spring practice and not practice much for fall camp. Now he's pissed off because his snap count's down. He hasn't been playing a ton because he was an overrated turd coming out of high school. Wasn't even really a 5-star in my opinion. And so now, he's bailing out of his third school or whatever.
His timeline
going
is
to his
hilarious.
third school.
Bear Alexander's timeline is great.
Yeah.
February of 2021, he commits to Georgia.
Right.
June of 2021, he decommits from Georgia.
Right.
October of 2021, he commits to Georgia. January of 2022, he enrolls at Georgia. In April of 2023, he enters the transfer portal and transfers to USC. And then yesterday intends to redshirt and enter the transfer portal.
Yeah. That's
there's some people that thought he was a for sure 3 and done type of player.
Oh, he'll be three to his third school. And maybe then on to his fourth or his fifth. I mean, who knows by this point? I wouldn't take him. I mean, I'm not taking somebody that won't work because, I was playing 50 snaps a game last year. But see, we got a new defensive coordinator, so I didn't do anything in spring, and then I didn't do much in the fall. And now they're working me back in the lineup. But the first 3 games, I only played 20 snaps a game because I'm probably out of shape and been out at the bar all night. And now they won't play me as much. So I'm out of here.
Some kind of condo or
probably
some kind of big penthouse.
I mean, trust me, it was very high profile when he left to go to Georgia. Everybody knew it was an NIL grab, because USC was desperate for players and they, put it out there that they, and I'm sure they met his quote unquote demands as another Walter Nolan type situation. And, at least so far, we haven't heard any negative things about Nolan at Ole Miss. And I think he's playing pretty well, but obviously Bear Alexander, to me, I mean, it's so funny. Like the day before, in his press conference, Lincoln Sharman said, himself, well, we're working him back in. He looks like he's starting to catch on to the new system. We have high expectations for him for the rest of the year. And then the next day he enters the transfer portal. So.
His father goes on record and says, and I quote, "We made clear what our goals are. That goal is to be a full-time starter and leader on the defense like we came to be."
Well, but again, you have to be in shape. You've got to be available. You can't make the club in the tub. You don't start if you ain't practicing. Okay. I don't care how much NIL money you're paid. And I'm just saying, that's what I read, that he did not do a whole lot in the spring, whether it was via injury or what, I don't know. And that he didn't do a whole lot. He was limited in fall camp. So they were kind of working him back slowly. This is a long season. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say you're not going to be playing heavy snaps? But you know how it is though. In 3 games, maybe he would have been playing those 50 snaps again, but then you're not eligible for a red shirt, so you can bail out and go somewhere else for more money. The first thing I do hope is that the NIL faucet's been turned off. I wouldn't pay the SOB another penny. You know, you can finish your school, you know, this semester and redshirt, but then you can get your ass out of town because we're not paying you anything. I don't care what was signed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying you.
And here's the thing, for those that are wondering, why are all of a sudden we waking up and hearing red shirt? Well, because remember, now the
rule.
NCAA has gone back to there's no more of being able to play whatever. You can only play in 4 games.
And that you can still do that throughout an entire season, whereas you can play in the first 2 and then play in the last 2. But in most cases, everybody understands that
they've already played in 3 games.
That if you're because it's not like Bear wasn't playing at all. He was rotational, so he would have played in a 4th game. It would have been like what happened to Talia Tungavailoa. He tried to play another year, but Alabama had played him in 5 games his freshman year, and it cost him an extra year of eligibility. Kind of felt for him there. But again, and that's where what Bear Alexander is trying to avoid. Like, that's what his dad said. We wanted to be, you know, playing starter snaps and be a leader on the defense and then only practice when we felt like it and be 25 pounds over. I'm just probably throwing in all the other crap that they're not going to put on the record there. That's probably the truth. But I'm just saying, you know, he wanted to be a starter. And he wasn't a starter. And he's like, well, if I play 20 snaps in the 4th game and play 20 snaps in the next game, I'm done. You know, I can't redshirt. You know, I can't, you know, go for another big NIL payout. But I mean, again, because there's so much gray area in all this and things of that nature, I would think you can, because we've already read it. You've read around with some of these insiders, like for in basketball, you know, Jeff Goodman. Well, there's guys waiting on their final NIL check before they get in the transfer portal because they want to make sure they get their money. Because again, if you do what Bear did, I wouldn't pay you. Because if he got what we think, which is a very hefty payout and guarantee to come to USC, that should be contingent on being available, playing. If you're going to sit out and bail on your team and opt out, I wouldn't pay your ass a penny. I would just say, bring it on. You want to sue me? Sue me, but you're not getting a damn thing. I hope you paid off your condo, peckerhead, or you can go sell it and you and your dad can keep the money, but I'm not giving you squat. Go stick.
All right. We're going to stick to our timeline, and we're going to get to a break this morning on a Thursday morning. 256-576-4977. That's how we get you cranked up on Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got about 5 miles of backed up traffic on I-65 northbound. Got a wreck at the 334. That's just north of the Priceville exit. Left lane's blocked up there. I think it turned out to be a no injury, but they're still pushing all the traffic over to the right. On the Arsenal now, gate 8 is closed. It's going to be the situation until Monday. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Hey Huntsville, looking for action-packed events? The Huntsville Sports Commission is your hub for all things sports. From youth events to national tournaments, we've got events that thrill and inspire. Whether you're an athlete, a fan, or a volunteer, there's something for everyone. Cheer on your favorite teams, witness amazing talent, and be a part of the excitement. Check out our event calendar and get involved at huntsvillesports.com. That's huntsvillesports.com. Be there, Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 7:23 on a Thursday morning, and we were talking about guys going into or I shouldn't say going into the portal yet. What they're doing is they're redshirting now for the rest of their season, their college football season. They are sitting out then the rest of the year. They will not play with the intent of going into the transfer portal. And that is what we were talking about during the break, that if these are the guys going into the portal now, week 3, week 4 of the season, they're redshirting with the intent of going into the portal. These are the question mark guys that you take. These are the guys that you start raising red flags for. Why are you leaving your school now? Why is it? Why are you wanting to go into the portal? Is it lack of playing time? Is it being bad in the locker room? These are the question mark guys. These are the gamble guys that coaches will take. I mean, Barry Alexander will get interest from another college football program. Somebody will take interest in them. But these are the guys where you have to ask, are they a good fit for your program? Are they a good fit for the locker room? Are they a locker room cancer? Will they help you out more will they help you out in other areas?
Hey, you almost said a more on there. That was pretty good. But it's pretty accurate.
It's what it is, though. I mean, it's these are the guys that you seriously look at and say, these are the red flag guys, I think.
Well, they all of them are when you're opting out in the middle of a season and it's not the the COVID pandemic with Dr. Dumbass. There was a lot of uncertainty there, and we'd never seen anything like that. So there were guys that were opting out and things of that nature. But that was different. This right now is just purely money. I mean, it's purely, and in most cases, I think it is like this. Is this Shuka? I don't even know. Whatever the hell his name is.
Kid from UNLV.
The quarterback from UNLV. I firmly believe that was a money grab. Okay, well, I agreed to come here, and I believe he had something, an agreement with the UNLV collective. They were paying him. It wasn't, the way it was kind of framed when it first came out, and that's why, Josh Pate told us you have to look at both sides of it. It was almost framed like, well, they're not paying me, so I'm out of here. No, I think you and your agent that you probably hired yesterday or a week ago that your parents decided to start talking to, you're 3-0. You've made an impact as a runner and passer. You're one of the keys or the key cog of the offense. You're coming back wanting a 6-figure commitment after the fact. In other words, you're wanting to renegotiate during the season because of what some clown assistant coach told you. Well, we'll get you $100,000, and you think some verbal promise means you're supposed to get that, and you're supposed to get it after the season started, which is stupidity. That's not how things are done. You know what I'm saying? When Ronald Acuna got 40 bombs and 70 RBIs last year, he had signed a 7-year, $100 million contract, whatever the hell it was, 3-4 years ago. He can't come in there and say, I'm not going to play anymore, pay me more money. I know he wants more money. We all understand that, but that's not going to happen. Okay, that's not how this works. I think, and that's why there's got to be some regulation with this NIL stuff, because it's total bull crap. It's total bull crap. But I will say this, I'll say it again. If a kid opts out and decides to redshirt, cut off his money. Do not pay him a dime. You can let him stay on scholarship, finish out his semester. I'm not saying that. Get your education, but I'm not paying you squat, dude, because you're not practicing and you're not playing. So, because if they're redshirting, Scott, they're not even practicing. When you're doing it like you're staying at the condo and ordering takeout. You're not doing squat.
Working with your team
or you're flying back to Texas where he's from or whatever, and your trainer or your mentor.
That's what I'm saying. You're working with your team.
Whatever.
When I say your team, I don't mean like your team. I mean like your personal.
It should work both ways, man, because these guys are getting paid sometimes even when they're not producing. And Bear certainly wasn't at the level he was supposed to. But if you opt out, you shouldn't get paid.
The thing is, if you're redshirting now, this is where the whole academic thing comes into place. Are you still going to class?
Yeah.
Is Bear Alexander?
I would hope so,
are
because
they still going to class?
Because you have to be eligible to me.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to Richard real fast on the phone lines. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. One thing, if these guys want more NIL, it's not going to occur. I mean, if you're at UNLV already, pretty far down. What do you have, 132 D1 teams? Is that
something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the UNLV's probably, in the 70s or 80s already?
I would think so.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're, you put it this way, Alabama's not going to offer you more money. Georgia's not. I mean, if you're already at UNLV, the teams below that aren't going to give you $100,000.
Nope. I mean, and I'm sure he wasn't making anything at Holy Cross because that's where he came from.
Yeah, and I'm just saying is you've just, no good D1 team is going to give you anything after what you just did. Either guy, and the kind of the same thing with the USC guy. I mean, you've already gone from Georgia to USC. I mean, he may get an NIL deal, but I guarantee you he's not going to get what he got at USC.
I wouldn't think so. I would think the shine start. It's kind of like what we've heard from coaches. A used car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it depreciates, and so and that's kind of Scott was kind of referencing that with is he a cancer? What's he going to do to your locker room? So
Yeah, I think you may get more playing time somewhere else, but I don't think your NIL money is going to be anywhere near what he was getting because at USC out. So I think you've just kind of screwed yourself there. Drew, you may know, but I've been told that Alabama does it like on a weekly basis, and you may know for sure. I've just been told that.
Yeah,
the payments are weekly.
Oh yeah. I would think during the season probably so, or bi-weekly. It's almost like having a regular job. Yeah,
that's what. So I mean, I don't know if USC would do that or not, but like I said, if you're getting it weekly, you basically you go probably the next time to. You go by this week to get your check, it won't be there. So
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, so it kind of. I wonder, do you guys have an NIL deal with Grady? There, but you guys have gone down to the junior high level with NIL.
Yeah, we haven't.
It's not legal in this state.
Yeah,
right.
We might try to slide something under the table. We got to keep him eligible, though, for the Hartzell, whatever league he plays in. We got to make sure he stays eligible. So
yeah, we don't want Grady being ineligible.
We don't want him to be cut out of middle school football.
Yeah.
One thing on your Bryant Denny thing, up until, and I can't remember the date, but basically Alabama played the easier games there.
Yeah, right, yeah. The big games were at Legion Field.
Yeah, they put the deck on one side, and then they started doing more and more games, and especially, I can't remember what year, because Legion Field was falling apart.
Yeah.
But once you put the second deck on, you almost played no games at Legion Field, and all of a sudden you were playing Auburn and LSU and Tennessee and Bryant Denny, where those games historically were in, at Legion Field, where that's where your losses were. Your Nebraskas, the USCs of the world were at. Penn State. We're at Legion Field, so you had a lot better chance of a loss there than play your kind of bottom tier SEC teams in your non-conference games.
Yeah, because it was about a 65 to 77,000, about a 12,000 seat difference in some cases.
Yeah, and so like I said, the Tennessee and Auburn were always there. When you played USC or Nebraska, it was always in Legion Field up until, like I said, especially when they put the second deck on.
Yeah.
Over there. So like I said, you didn't have a whole lot of chances. Well, I mean, I went to games kind of off and on in the 70s, and I only remember one close game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
Out, we had one against Georgia go to maybe like 74 or something. They had a few more in there. I just didn't attend them. But like I said, I only remember one where I had to actually sweat it out. That I attended at Bryant Denny. It was almost always a blowout. So.
Yeah. All right, Richard.
All right, man. Appreciate
to you, but we got up against a tight break here. We've got to get a break in because when we come back, Travis Ryer's got to join us, and we got Alabama, Georgia to break down. But there's a couple other little SEC gems out there this weekend, some intriguing ones. How about Texas A&M and Arkansas, Kentucky, Ole Miss? But we'll focus on Alabama, Georgia, and a lot more with Travis Ryer next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. A good chunk of the afternoon actually looks like it's going to be dry across the Tennessee Valley. With that in mind, temperatures should climb into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Showers and thunderstorms are going to move back into our neck of the woods as we head into the later part of the afternoon, the evening, and then especially as we head into the overnight early into your Friday morning. Temperatures drop into the mid-60s. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky through Friday afternoon. It looks like the rain is going to come to an end for the most part. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm not sure why they still have the left lane blocked at Priceville, but they do. They're pushing all the traffic over into the right lane. That's just north of the 334 exit. That one ended up being a no injury. That traffic was backed up about 5 miles last time I looked at it, so it's going to be a slow ride for you there. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're looking for that heating and air company that will flex and can be called the GOAT, Talon Heating and Air, they've got the receipts to prove it. Thomas with Talon Heating and Air, he's got the extra drip.
Bet. We'd be bussing. When we come out to your house, we're going to get everything taken care of. We're not going to leave you feeling salty, and you're not going to be saying big yikes.
All those other companies that throw shade at you, they're not keeping you cool.
Most of these chuggy companies out here just don't understand, They be capping when they come to your house, telling you there's something wrong. It's not. We're going to come out there. We're going to leave you vibing with us, and you're going to be real comfortable with our solutions.
Give us the digits.
Those digits are 256-503-4490.
And when you got the online web,
talenthvac.com.
All right, one more time with those digits.
All right, Rizzler. It's 256-503-4490. Bye, Felicia.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's 7:36 Thursday morning. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We are holding court. Alabama, Georgia. They're going to be holding court Saturday inside Bryant Denny Stadium, 6:30 kickoff there, and a lot of eyes will be on that one. And I guarantee you, anybody that's watching that game, then there will be millions, probably upwards of 7 to 8 million. I imagine that'll be the TV audience. I guarantee you they're not going to sit there and say, well, this is what's wrong with college football. It'll be, this is what's right with college football, Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah, it's a huge game, no doubt about it. We're going to talk about that and talk some SEC with our next guest. He joins us on a weekly basis. You can find him on his new YouTube channel. It's Ryer on YouTube. It's outstanding. And also he has his daily Talkin' Tide podcast with the Tuscaloosa News, Chase Goodbread. Second Helping, which focuses on the SEC with Brent Beard. Always, and of course, if he's not doing that, he's following his daughter, Savannah Ryer, around. The Jags got to turn it around, though. Right now, they look like the Mississippi State of the NFL almost. I've been surprised at how they're struggling. But certainly our next guest is as sharp as any of them, and Travis is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Travis, them Jags got to get going, man.
Damn, Drew, the Mississippi State of the NFL.
I've been. Wow. I was really shocked at the way they.
I was in Buffalo.
Yeah, because I thought about you. I thought, man, you're having to sit
like
through that.
Mississippi State fan, maybe in Austin this weekend.
No,
it was rough, man. It's rough. It's not good. They gotta shake some things up. We'll see. Gave guys extensions and raises.
I thought they would be better than this early. I mean, it's been rough.
Well, ever since the fourth quarter of the Dolphins game, where they had the 10-point lead and let that get away, it's just been this vortex. But let's talk some college football, guys.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I mean, Alabama, Georgia, we know it's going to be the epicenter of college football. You've covered these games throughout your tenure, your long one since 2003 with BamaOnline.com before transitioning to Ryder on YouTube and focusing on the Southeastern Conference in college football. But it's the first meeting for Kirby in the regular season since 2020. The first with Nick Saban now on the sidelines and going to be on the college football game day set. There's still a lot at stake. Now, both teams, I think, are still solidly in the playoff mix, of course. But what's your thoughts on the matchup going in, where we have not seen Kalen DeBoer in this big? Actually, it's his SEC opener, which is kind of hard to fathom because they've played 3 games, but no SEC contest. And your first matchup is with what many people think is going to be the new king of college football.
It's kind of crazy because we still look at Kalen DeBoer as the new guy.
Yeah,
when he actually coached in the national championship game last January. But it is different, you got to think. And so, but I think Alabama fans are taking some great comfort in knowing that, this isn't a guy that coached in a MAC championship game, last December before taking over at Alabama, or a kind of a group of 5 type of situation, and now is really getting the full brunt of what this is going to be like. Kalen DeBoer's coached in the spotlight. Now, this is certainly a little bit different, as it says right there on the marquee at the SEC offices. It just means more. So, but it's going to be a fascinating matchup. I think it's big for Kirby too. Not that Kirby in any form or fashion has heat on him. He's won 2 national championships, but there is the Alabama thing that is still out there. I think a lot of Georgia fans, were willing to kind of write that off as more of a Saban thing than an Alabama thing. But now with Saban, as you pointed out, going to be doing the college game day stuff in Tuscaloosa Saturday. The expectation for Georgia fans is, okay, the old man is gone. Now it's time to really check off the final box for Kirby, which is Alabama. Even with the national championship game win, a 1-5 record against the Crimson Tide, no doubt Georgia fans want to see that change.
Yeah, and if you strip away the coaching conversation, Kirby and Kalen DeBoer and everything, and you just put the teams out there on the field, you line them up. What intrigues you the most, though, about the Alabama-Georgia matchup personnel-wise?
I think it always goes back to the lines of scrimmage for both these teams, because if there's an area where both has been dominant in their runs in the last 10 or 15 years, is that a lot of times they were simply able to just line up and, move people where they wanted to move them, reset the line of scrimmage, reestablish the line of scrimmage defensively, and just win in those areas because they were always bigger, stronger, faster. So it is that type of storyline. I don't think it's a game necessarily where either team's going to run for a ton of yardage, but offensive balance is going to be critical, and it'll be fascinating to see how these offensive coordinators look to go about attaining that. With Georgia, you don't have as much of the quarterback run factor, although I would warn Alabama fans who maybe still think Carson Beck is a redwood back there. That's not the case. He's a good athlete relative to quarterback to that position. Is he Jalen Milroe? No. And conversely, speaking of Jalen Milroe, can Alabama kind of continue that two-way situation that we really saw up in Madison, understanding that this Georgia defense is going to be a great deal better than what they saw from the Badgers up there. But, Milroe and his ability, even when he doesn't run the football or keep the football, occupies defenders. He's almost like an extra blocker in that regard. You don't have to account for as many guys in your blocking scheme, but defensively you have to account for him and potentially an additional blocker if he's keeping it on design runs. So, how that kind of plays out, situational football is always huge in these kind of games that you anticipate being quick, close, whether it's, obviously third down or, red zone. Alabama's been very effective in that area so far. Georgia, it looks good on paper, but a lot of that hasn't been touchdowns for the Dogs, including that win over Kentucky. So it's everything you would expect, I think, in a matchup, and explosive plays. Who's going to be able to produce more of those? Alabama right now looks like it has more of that capability, but with Beck and some of those receivers, Georgia's still capable of doing that itself.
Well, I mean, we've seen Alabama in the first 3 games. They have allowed some receivers to get behind them, but against Western Kentucky, South Florida, and even Wisconsin, they have not cashed those in. The likelihood, though, of Beck doing that is much higher, in my opinion.
Yes, you're not going to get away with it as much, you wouldn't think, with Carson Beck delivering the football. And I think even early in the game, Georgia loves the quick game. They like to throw it out and see, because they block on the perimeter. Their guys, they get after you in terms of their receivers, and they'll get tight ends out there helping in space too. I think you're going to see some of that very early. Throw the ball out to the perimeter, and let's see if these new Alabama corners and sub-packaged guys can get off blocks, set edges, and prove physical enough. We think physicality in this matchup, we kind of limit it to between the hash marks, but I think Georgia takes a lot of pride in at least thinking that it's the more physical football team 1 through 11 on offense, not just up front with 5 guys or maybe a tight end or, the backs. I think that's going to be a part of this too. And as an extension of the run game, really, both of these offenses, can they get some production off of the quick game and maybe some easy design touches?
So ultimately, does Alabama protect the home field at Bryant-Denny Stadium?
Yeah, I would pick Alabama in this game, in large part because it's in Tuscaloosa. And I just think right now, this offense for Alabama, the potential again for more in the way of perhaps explosive plays with an emphasis on the quarterback's legs being a part of that. I would go with the Crimson Tide. I think it's going to be very close, though. Could come down to one of these kickers, which is interesting for Alabama because Graham Nicholson is a new guy, Luke Rose Award winner a year ago, but this isn't the MAC on Saturday night. So,
no.
He could be put in a pretty big situation. It's kind of flew under the radar back in 2020 when these teams played in Tuscaloosa, but Will Reichard made a bomb from about 52 yards at the end of the first half in that matchup that really helped swing things for Alabama. And so, if it holds true to form, Georgia will get out to an early lead in this game because it seems like when they played of late, that's what Georgia has done against Alabama. But the Crimson Tide has largely had an answer in those situations. And that'll be fascinating to see too. I think, we'll talk about the head coaches so much, but I think in the aftermath, we'll be talking about coordinators. I think we'll be talking about perhaps Mike Bobo for Georgia. I think Kane Womack, this is a big spot for him too. Kind of a validation sort of night for him in that defense as well.
What other matchup or two are you most intrigued by this week in the SEC besides the marquee one with Alabama and Georgia?
There's so many quarterback situations around the league right now. You can't help but think about Oklahoma and Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Michael Hawkins Jr. jumping in there for Jackson Arnold. And at this point, if you're benching Jackson Arnold and this is truly the direction you're looking to go for the rest of the season, with the transfer portal being what it is, you're making a big picture decision. You have to think, because, you know, this guy wasn't a 2-star from Bixby that just sort of showed up on campus. You know, this is a former 5-star in Jackson Arnold that will have a lot of value if he decides to move on. So your chips into the center of the table if you make these kind of changes. And so I can't help but think about that matchup. You know, this is big for both teams, obviously, but for OU going into the league and Brent Venables, you're looking at potentially 0-3 in the SEC if you lose this game, because you get Texas and Dallas coming up. So yeah, I would go there. I think Arkansas A&M in Arlington has a chance to be a great game. So, you know, Talon Green, how much can you trust this guy at the quarterback position for Arkansas? I mean, you saw it last week against Auburn. It's a roller coaster ride, but, you know, this is also a guy, as we saw, he can move to his left off platform, throw the football 65 yards in the air for a touchdown on 3rd and 19. So he's a thrill a minute. You know, how does, you know, A&M kind of look to move forward? It looks like with Marcel Reed at the quarterback position. There's just a lot of quarterback news in the Southeastern Conference right now. Some of it due to injury, but some of it due to ineffective play and coaches going ahead and moving on to the next guy.
Lane Kiffin made some comments earlier in the week saying, hey, look, I don't think our non-conference schedule really prepared us for SEC play. They open SEC play this week against Kentucky. Is this, do we see this high-flying offense that Ole Miss has put up against overmatched teams leading the country in you know, total offense? I mean, are they able to do that against Kentucky?
I'll tell you, they're tough to deal with right now. I mean, Jackson Dart, Henry Parrish, Jr., Trey Hare. I mean, they're just loaded, really, tight end, anywhere you want to look at the skill spots or the pass eligible spots, I guess you could say, receiver eligible spots. They're just a real problem. You know, I think Kentucky can provide some interference, at least defensively. You expect that anyway out of a Mark Stoops coach team. I think where this game could kind of be like Tennessee, Oklahoma last week is that, you know, you kind of came out of that Tennessee, Oklahoma game more impressed even with that defense. That was a little bit of validation, I thought, for the Tennessee defense last week against better competition. Well, I don't think Kentucky offensively by any stretch is, you know, one of the better teams in the league on that side of the ball. But, you know, we've heard so much about this Ole Miss defense really taking another step and validating its hopes as a college football playoff contender. I think that's where we might walk away from this game actually thinking, you know what, Ole Miss either is or isn't as much of what we thought they were.
Well, and that's some great stuff from Travis Reier. And Travis, I will say this, the Carolina Panthers are the NC State of the NFL. Even though they did win a game, they look like a different team, you know, but hey.
Oh gosh, that is rough, man. But
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. And the Jags got a lot on their plate right now, and got to go to Houston on a short week.
And Houston's going to be mad.
Will Anderson, Henry Toa.
Yeah, there you go.
Guys.
Well,
Christian Harris.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Travis. Let everybody know how to connect with you, buddy.
Thanks. Take care.
Travis Reier on YouTube. Connect with him. We always appreciate his time.
All right. How about that, though? If Arkansas can go, and this one's a neutral site game, remember, because it's in Arlington. If Arkansas can go and get a win against Texas A&M, Arkansas, when we talked about Sam Pittman being on the hot seat, Arkansas by the end of Saturday could be 4-1 overall and 2-0 in league play to start the year.
Well, and they've I think this is about the 12th straight year they're at Jerry World. They've only won it once, and that was a couple years ago under Pittman. If he can get another one,
I mean, think about that start though: 4-1, 2-0 in league play.
We thought Auburn might do that and relieve some of the pressure on Hugh Freeze, but that's been the exact opposite. But Sam Pittman was on the hot seat. But, you know, it's kind of funny when we were in Dallas, they were talking about there was more Billy Napier talk, and that's kind of come to fruition than Sam Pittman.
Well, Hugh Freeze is trying to find somebody else in Auburn to blame.
Yeah.
We'll find out if that continues on Saturday. If they lose to Oklahoma, boy, oh boy, he may be blaming the yard people.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They've still got the left lane blocked up northbound I-65, just north of the 334. That's the Priceville exit. Now it sounds like we may have another wreck in the back up there trying to come northbound. No report of injury. And we got a wreck at 53 and Jeff Road in Harvest. That one came in as a no injury, so hopefully it will move quickly. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at ChapmanCommercialRealty.com.
Short time left here in hour number 1, Talking Ball 97.7. ESPN The Zone, Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back in. Kind of going over, we before the break, we were talking about how big that Arkansas-Texas A&M game is for Arkansas.
Yeah.
If they win that one, if they find a way to knock off Texas A&M, if they can find a way to do it, which, by the way, is a 2:30 kick. After that, you have Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, Louisiana Tech, and Missouri. Doesn't get easier for Sam Pittman. You've won the games that you've won a toss-up game, which is an Auburn game. That was the toss-up game. Texas A&M game, is that still one? Is that a? I mean, I know it's a very short spread in that one, but is that one of these toss-up games that they? I mean, Texas A&M is only a 4-point favorite.
I mean, I don't look. I mean, A&M played really well against Florida, but we know how bad Florida is now. So Arkansas is, I think they haven't been tremendous, but they've looked much better than a year ago. Their offensive line and running game look much better. You know, Travis Reier kind of, hey, he brought up Taylon Green, and so it depends kind of on him and. And what Texas A&M decides to do, which is probably just stay the course at quarterback. I would kind of be surprised if Connor Wigman's back in the lineup. It's going to be which quarterback plays better, and I would still lean toward A&M because I believe in their defense more than I do Arkansas's, but I certainly understand why it's only a 4-point game. And if you go back and historically look at these games on Jerry World, they've just about all been great games, man. And gone down to the final, half of the fourth quarter, if not the final drive. So A&M has won all of them but one. I think they're, 10-1 going into this one, but they've been very, very close games. And so very, very competitive. And I would expect that of this one as well. But I would probably take Texas A&M by a field goal or so. I think you said the spread's 4. I'd probably go a little bit
4, yeah,
under the number. I'd probably go something like 27-24, but I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
All right, just about done with hour number 1 here of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. When we do kick off hour number 2, Louis LeBlanc will join us as we start talking some high school football. I started looking at the lineup tonight. My goodness, there is some fantastic high school football being played tonight. Hatton is traveling to Westminster Christian. But you've got Fife on the road at Coosa Christian tonight. And that is a battle of ranked opponents. Fife is ranked in 3A, Coosa Christian ranked.
Did that game not get moved, though?
It says Thursday. The state has it listed as
I
Thursday.
thought I saw something on X yesterday that game got moved because, of course, we have a great relationship with Fife. And as everybody knows, my old saying, death, taxes, and the Fife Red Devils. But I thought that Fife had moved that game. But
yes. The Fife at Coosa Christian game has been rescheduled for Friday.
That's what I thought. They moved it a day.
Yeah. So anyway, well, we still have Lauderdale County and Brooks are playing. There you go.
There you
North
go.
Sand Mountain and Valley Head are supposed to be playing tonight.
Okay.
Supposed to be playing. There we go. Hatton and Westminster Christian Academy.
They definitely are playing.
And Louis LeBlanc will join us next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Thursday night football, the 1-2 Giants play host to the 1-2 Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. Giants cornerback Adoree Jackson is out. So is cornerback Drew Phillips. Wide receiver Darius Slayton questionable. For the Cowboys, safety Marquise Bell is doubtful. So is cornerback Kalen Carson. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb listed as a full participant at Wednesday's practice. Dallas head coach Mike McCarthy.
Everybody plays in these Thursday games. You're always trying to tweak the schedule, but most importantly, we got to go in this thing with a full game plan. And we accomplished that these last 2 days.
Detroit favored by 6 heading in. New York plus 210. The over-under 45.5. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives. Helping us kick off hour number 2, I will be seeing the good doctors over there at SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, by the way. I've got to go over there and see them.
Hopefully not too creaky there.
There's a little creek in there, but Dr. Jensen is going to hopefully put some oil in that creek, and it'll be all good to go. But anyway, we have got to talk some high school football because Westminster Christian Academy putting the ball on the tee tonight, playing 4 quarters of football at home against a very stubborn and improved Hatton squad. They've come a long ways in a couple years. They are a very formidable opponent.
Well, they've moved up in class, and they've also combined with the former R.A. Hubbard. That's the school has changed quite a bit from an enrollment standpoint, and they are certainly going to take on our Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats, and you'll be able to hear Logan Verandas also on the call, and you'll be able to hear our good friend Jimmy Lay as well, as they will bring you, Matt, the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats, coming off of a big win on the road at DAR in 4A Region 8 last week. And because of that, Houston Scott, first-year starting quarterback, filling the huge shoes of Brandon Mush, but, establishing his own legacy, is the AL.com Player of the Week. Congratulations to him. And I know just a couple weeks ago, Westminster was able to navigate some tough weather. Could be some more weather tonight. But again, their head football coach, Louis LeBlanc, courtesy of SportsMed, is now going to join us and preview this matchup that you'll be able to hear at 7 o'clock tonight on our airwaves. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. Doing really well. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. And talk about your young quarterback's performance last week. I know when you join, you always worry about going on the road and especially with a team with a lot of young guys, a lot of new pieces. But they handled themselves very well, and I thought they bounced back after that tough, outing against Randolph.
Yes, sir. We doubled down on, I guess, a message that we always are telling the guys about, focusing on us as a team and not worrying about who we play and circumstances and the things that we can't control. We really focused a lot around here on, we over me, and if somebody gets an interception, let's say that we got an interception. If somebody scores, we scored. Let's get excited for teammates. Let's look to celebrate with teammates and pick teammates up when they're down. And that was a great opportunity last week. The guys came out incredibly focused. We were firing on all cylinders in all phases of the game. Houston threw the ball exceptionally well, put the ball right where it needed to be. Receivers made some great receptions and pulled the ball in, and then defense was all over the field, and special teams was able to score. So got some young guys in, and it was a great night. It was really cool after the week of practice that we had, and the focus that we had on what was important to us and what we could control, and to see the guys execute was what we were looking for, and that they did it.
Yeah, you go through all week of practice and you talk about that message, and then you go out. Does it make it easier and that message kind of sink in a little bit better too when you can get off to a fast start like that, because the kids then really buy into the we message a little bit more?
Of course, for several years now, every practice we focus on starting fast. We try to simulate a pregame warm up and going from flex to practice and I mean going from flex in what we call flex, our stretch before practice, to immediately into a competition mode. And so we set a scenario as coaches, and we focus on starting fast and being able to create that energy, being into the moment with what we're doing. It matters. It's offense versus defense. Let's put time on the clock. Let's go. Let's get it going. And then before the game and all week, talking to them about our focus. If what's important now is what we're focused on, like what's in the moment for us right now. Pre-game, the next thing that's coming up for us that we should be focusing on is the kickoff return. If you're not involved in that, you're focused on first snap of O or first snap of D. If you're only on punt return or punt, you're focused on that. How can we have the best start of the season? And then at halftime, I just hit reset on that and said, how can we have the best start to the second half of the season up to this point? And the only way we can do that is we're all locked in. And then challenge the older guys at halftime when we were up that, being locked in doesn't mean you clock out after you've been subbed out, that your job is now to leave a legacy, a personal legacy, by coaching up the guys that are going to come up after you and encouraging them in only ways that players can do it, since you're the ones on the field actually doing it. And so the guys have picked that banner up and run with it and continued that even this week. They're in practice. It's been a good week.
No question about it. And I've got to ask you about Isaiah Shingleton. He's really done a great job. You talked about in the kicking game. He's been an explosive returner all year. He had a kickoff return for a touchdown this past game. He did a nice job with punt return. It's so interesting to watch guys that just seem to have a knack for being a big play guy in the return game. But he's been a huge factor for you since week 0, so to speak, Coach.
Yes, sir. And the beautiful thing about Isaiah Shingleton is he is a genuine person. He loves, being a part of not just our program, but the school. He doesn't meet a stranger. He's always going up and shaking adults' hands and smiling and being a part of what we do here. And I just believe when you're genuine and, you are locked in to what you are a part of, then you're free and clear mentally to just perform. And Isaiah does that. And so I love to see the success he has. And I really believe it's not simply because he's talented, but because of the character that he has and how he chooses to apply not only his athletic ability, but his relational ability, his social ability, and what he does to make Westminster better off the field. That the on the field part is just icing on the cake. You won't meet a person here who will say that they don't like him. Everyone loves him, and so having a young man like that's just so committed to the organization and believes he's part of something special, I believe gives him the motivation to go out there and to do the things that he does, and then it just deepens the bonds that he has created with the football team and everyone else here. They love him, and but it's not just simply because of what he does. It's just who he is. And as a coach, I talked to the team, and I got a chance to talk in chapel last week about heart. And I love talking about heart. Everyone wants to focus on highlights, and that's all you really see, on TV or here in the media is the highlights, these great plays. But for me, the most important aspect of what we do is the heart of the players. And that kid is a great example of that I just, when I see those plays, I see the heart behind it and the work that went into it.
I mean, anytime you can complete 80% of your passes, that's a pretty good number. Houston's got 8 of 10 last week. But what I think is more impressive, though, is of those 8 completions, Coach, you were able to get the ball to 6 different receivers on the night.
Yes, sir. And so, that's one thing that I think that has been different for us and compared to maybe other systems I've been a part of, that here at Westminster, we don't ever go into a game saying, okay, how are we going to get so-and-so the ball 50 times? We want to take what the defense gives us, and then we coach our quarterbacks. We want them to spread the ball around. Houston has a great opportunity to do that because of his height. He can see field. Yeah. He can find that guy that's open, and even then, he's we're always working with him on that. But we want everyone to feel that they have an opportunity to get the ball if they're on the field, and so again, Houston could see it. He may not have the running ability of Brandon, so that causes him maybe to stay in the pocket a little longer, and see that guy. And but then, not to mention, he just has the arm to get it there. So anytime that we can get more guys involved, to me, one, it helps with morale. The difference between a sprint and a route is I get to catch the ball at the end of the route. If I don't catch the ball, I just ran a sprint. So nobody signs up for that unless you're a track star. And so, we want them to get the ball, but it's hard. There's one ball and there's 5 eligible players on the field on offense at any given moment that can touch the ball. So it's hard to get it there. But if the defense has given us the ability to run, as you've seen, we're going to run it. And if they leave some gaps in secondary and coverage, we're going to throw it. So it's nothing that we designed. We didn't go in and say everybody's going to touch the ball. We just coach him up to find the open guy. That's your job. And I don't know what that's going to be on any given play, but you're going to see it and you're going to pull the trigger. And that's what makes quarterbacks special, the ability to just pull the trigger, man, just get it in there.
Well, and Coach, talk about Tyler Kaufman. He had 2 interceptions back there for you on defense. And, you guys, you were able to play a lot of kids because you rested some guys in the second half. But getting off to that fast start and putting the game away in the first half was big. But you always want to generate turnovers and from your defense. And he certainly played a big part in that this past Friday.
So our defense coordinator, Coach Sloan, does a phenomenal job of talking to the defense about what they can do to be weapons as far as creating turnovers, scoring on defense, flipping the field, giving great field position for the offense, and they've bought into it. They love it, and he gets them riled up and excited about it, and it goes all throughout the week. So seeing a guy that like Tyler coming in to replace some of the guys that were starting before him, to come in and really could have had 3 picks. He dropped one. To see that is awesome, and then to see all the rest of the guys get excited for him. Tyler is a kid that played receiver for us last year. But then this year, just through some circumstances, we had some openings in the secondary, and we looked at Tyler and his abilities, and we pulled him over, and not because he was not a good receiver, but because of his ability to make plays. And so to see him have those 2 picks, one of them for a touchdown, our first defensive score of the year, was really special, because as a group, as a coaching staff, we tried to figure out who could help us in the secondary. We tapped him and a couple other guys, and those guys have been producing in the secondary for us. And so I'm thankful for the validation there, but also just for their own personal appeasement of, man, I'm in the right spot. I'm helping the team. I'm in an opportunity. I have opportunities to make an impact, and maybe different than what they thought going into the season, but it's turned out to be something that's a positive for them. And like I said, anytime you can have guys coming off the bench making plays, it just adds a little extra motivation to practice and creates some competition that you always like to have as a coach. And the most important thing for me was to see how the team rallied. And if anyone gets a chance to watch Tyler's post-game little interview that we posted, it's awesome, because he said, that first one, I got a pick and I scored. And then later he came back and he said, and I made a mistake. I said, I got the pick. And Coach LeBlanc says, we got the pick. And so we got the pick and we scored. And so you love hearing them echo the message, and you feel like it's being driven home.
I know Evan McClure, 3 carries the other night. He had a fantastic game, but I still think it's one of the best names in high school football, Saber Kim.
Yeah, you got him some work, Coach.
You got him some work. You got him lathered up, Coach.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Saber Kim. You talking about parents with vision, man. That was a great name. And so, I love that for him. But again, Saber is as green and raw as they come. His first year to play football. God bless him with tremendous ability, but he has the character to listen and apply and to be coached and want to get better. And so anytime you have a young man that is inexperienced but has talent, but then has that desire to say, okay, I'm out of my depth here. What can coach tell me to get better? What can maybe Evan help him do to get better? You've got the recipe for some success, and I think we're seeing that, and it's just a kind of a great picture of what I believe athletics is supposed to be. Talented young man with great character that's got coaches that care about him and a family that supports him, and you just see this uptick in growth every week. It's exciting, So you're right, Saber Kim, what a name, and he's definitely slashing through defenses, if you will.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
that's a good one. Hey, Coach, you're playing the Hatton Hornets. They played a very difficult schedule. They've played Dessler. They've played Brooks, no doubt. And they're coming off of a game against a really good West Morgan team. Denton Bowling has done a good job, though, with that program. They're 2-2. Talk about the challenge of facing them.
So we haven't, as a school, we haven't faced them since 2009, and obviously it's the first time for me or anyone else on the team to face them, and then they're totally different than the Hatton of old, obviously, as you mentioned, with R.A. Hubbard holding in. So lots of athletes, explosive, well coached. You have guys that could strike at any moment. They are tested. They have had Dessler, they've had Brooks, they've had West Morgan and East Lawrence in a mud puddle game, and so these guys they've done it. They've been through some of the tougher teams in the state, and they're 2-2, and but you can see the fight, you can see what they have on their in their roster and the potential that they have at any given moment. So a little bit different team, I think, than we faced up to this point. But you're right. Coach Bowling does a phenomenal job there, and it'll be a good test, for us tonight on both sides of the ball in the kicking game. And our guys are going to have to be locked in for sure.
Big key, though, for tonight's game. Biggest key.
Oh, you're asking. I thought you were about to tell me. I was going to get my notebook out.
Look, we've been doing this. I could say you got to control the ball. You can't turn it over. You got to be able to move the ball, and you got to be sound on the defensive side.
100%. But for us, we have something to prove to ourselves. Okay, so the last time we had wet conditions,
yes,
we turned it over a lot, and that's just not acceptable. It's not in what we practice and what we do, and we focus on those things. And so, guys, if Noah could be in that thunderstorm for 40 days, man, I just need 48 minutes, right? We can do it. We can get out there and we can do our job and hold on to that ball. There's no excuse. And so those footballs have been wet all week. We were praying for rain yesterday, and the rain held off for practice, but we wanted it. We wanted our guys to be in it and see it. And I feel like the ball that we've been using has probably weighed about 10 pounds because it gets dunked before every snap, and including the kicking game. And so I think our guys are ready for it. We've addressed issues. We've talked about ways to combat the issue there. So that's going to be a key for us as a team, just in our own psyche of just dealing with that and getting over that hump. Beyond that, I know you probably want something that's locker room material, but for me, it's blocking and it's tackling. It's blocking and it's tackling. There's really good athletes over there on the O line. He's got 4 on the D line. He has 4 seniors on the Hatton team, and 3 of them are on the defensive line. So I've got 4 juniors. So they've got 3 guys that have a year more experience than my guys, and so they're going to have to be great protectors, great run blockers, and then defensively, we're going to have to be great tacklers because they have athletes that do not want to go down or even be touched by defense, and they don't want to go down just with one tackler. So we've emphasized that every week, but especially in a wet game where my footing may not be great or ball carrier may be a little slippier, we've got to make it happen. We have to cut all that out of our minds and go back to the fundamentals. So those are the 3 things for me, and the things we've preached all week.
Well, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. Listen, on Zone 5, it'll be the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats hosting the Hatton Hornets at 7 o'clock tonight. And we probably going to be a little wet, so bring your umbrella, bring your rain slicker. But Westminster, as you heard, Coach, they've been preparing for this all week. They want to take a step forward and, Coach, and head into that bye week with some momentum. We look forward to that, though, and good luck to the Wildcats tonight. And we always appreciate the time and to talk some football with you.
Man, this is highlight of the week for me. I appreciate it, and thank you, man. And y'all be safe. And man, Scott, I need an injury report next week, man. We got therapy in the morning. Get you some heat and stem, and we'll get it rolling.
There we go.
I go in Tuesday.
And hopefully nobody from Westminster on that report.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're all good. I'm thinking we're good, but we're just going in for a checkup to make sure the old
little tune-up.
Yep.
That's right, man. Well,
thank you,
good luck with it. I pray everything's all right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do.
We certainly hope so.
Let's get a break in. Hey, if you want to improve your lives, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center dedicated to providing that care. 256-881-5151. We'll get the break in.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They finally opened the left lane at Priceville, I-65 northbound in Morgan County, about the 334. Traffic's backed up for several miles, so it's going to take a while to get that all untangled. Just got one on 565 eastbound at Research Park. Patterson and Mount Lebanon's reporting with an injury. 53 and Jeff reports as a no injury. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
T-minus 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
There's a new, more convenient way to gear up with the Trash Pandas. The Trash Pandas store on Hughes Road has all the hottest Trash Pandas merchandise. Plus, enjoy free Trash Pandas morning autograph sessions before each Saturday home game through August. It's in the Hughes Plaza Shopping Center near Just Love Coffee. We'll see you at the new Trash Panda store on Hughes Road.
Let's rock it.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative, located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville. Their brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, their diverse menu has something to please every palate. And with a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, they invite you to savor the unique flavor of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative.
Welcome back. It's 8:23. What is it? Thursday morning. Last night, Kalen DeBoer, hey coach with Kalen DeBoer, was asked about the offensive line. I bet you can't guess by who. But he was asked about the offensive line going into Saturday. And here was the coach. Here's his final thought on the offensive line before the Saturday showdown.
Everything is reps, right? Everything is reps. I don't care what you do. If it's football related, whatever your career is, it's about doing it more and more and more, and you get better at it. And that's coaching. That's me. That's all of our coaches. That's our players. And, of course, I really think it's essential when it comes to offensive line play because all five of those guys and then some need to be in sync. Your running back has to get used to, how guys come off on combination blocks and being able to press the hole and working with the line to set up the blocks and be able to make the cutback or the read that's needed. And so, those reps are critical for everyone, not just the offensive line, but the quarterback, trusting the pocket, trusting that a pressure that we're working on can be picked up. So they've done a nice job. We've been able to have as much continuity in practice since that we've had this week, going back to really the week leading up to the opener against Western Kentucky. So it's just as far as the reps with the guys, that they've taken together. Even Wisconsin, we pretty much didn't have most of our guys practicing together at the spots they played in the Wisconsin game. So this week's been really good that way.
There you go. That's good news. That's good news.
Yeah, and that's what he was talking about, getting the first 5 reps together, and you're going to need that with the opponent you're playing on Saturday inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Got to get used to doing that. I mean, that's just more long words for us to have to put together.
Mm-hmm.
That usually doesn't work well. Let's go out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
Hopefully Scott going to get him to put some oil in it that Puff Daddy didn't buy all.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. We ain't using that kind of oil.
Nah.
I'm seeing reports that people are saying that on the A's last game, that when the game is over, they do not want the team on the field. They don't want anybody on the field. They want everybody out of there as soon as possible. The security has been directed to, when the final pitch is thrown, have everybody off the field and out of there. They don't want anybody hanging around pictures. They said that the GM at one point was going to get out and give a speech and do some stuff. So, I mean, are they expecting a full-on LA brawl to just tear the place to pieces, or what is going on? Because you figured they would at least say goodbye, but that's what people are putting out here on these message boards. They're saying that the team has been instructed to, when the final out, get your crap and get out ASAP. No pictures, no nothing on the field. So have y'all heard anything about that?
No, really haven't paid a lot of attention. I know that fans have, over these last couple of games, fans have tried taking stuff out of the stadium. Like they've unbolted some seats. And
Talking about Oakland?
Yeah, they're trying to take stuff out of there because
Shocker.
of the Coliseum and stuff. But here's my thing. Here's my thing with this whole thing. And I get the baseball product has not been great, but all these Oakland fans are sitting here complaining about the team leaving. They're complaining about everything. They're complaining about the owner, which, by the way, he's a bad owner anyway. And they're complaining about all this other stuff. But for the past 10 years, they've never shown up.
Well, but they've also, it goes back to what you said about having a bad owner. They could have, if they had an owner that would invest more in the ball club and that, would be more out in the public eye promoting the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I would agree with one of the I was listening to some ESPN national radio, and I don't agree with a lot of things they say, but I do agree with the Oakland situation that if they had a different owner, they would have probably stayed here and got something done. But look at it. But Oakland is notorious for this. The Raiders leave because Al Davis always had a love-hate relationship with the city. Oakland A's now leaving, and we all know the Warriors left several years ago also.
And here's the thing, though, to keep in mind. They do not have a
deal with
Vegas.
With Vegas yet. Yeah.
There is no deal.
They're going to like Sacramento?
Yeah, they're playing in Sacramento for a couple years, but they don't have a financing plan yet in fully placed there for their stadium in Vegas. That's where they intend to go. But they do not have a full ironclad lockdown plan for anything in Vegas.
Well, I just remember laughing at them 2 years ago. You had two people in the far upper deck, I believe, of left field, and it was so wide open and nobody even in that section that they caught them in a lewd act.
Oh, Lord.
I remember that. I remember Barstool Sports put it out. And, I mean, when your stadium is so empty, and this is not at night, this is during the middle of the day. I mean, bright sunshine straight up. I mean, the place has just been a joke, and I don't understand if it's been that bad. Why hadn't MLB stepped in and done something? I mean, to my knowledge, I mean, the owners can say, hey, you're running this team underground, and we can make you sell it, correct?
Well, they have in the NBA with Donald Sterling.
Yeah, they did.
Well, yeah, derelict on that front as well. The NFL seems to be way more proactive about that kind of stuff, and I wonder how long it's going to be before you're going to see some stuff popping up about the Panthers if things don't turn around for them. So, but I just thought that was crazy that they seem to want everybody to run out of Oakland sideways, run for your life, kind of like that Allstate commercial where the refs being chased out of town in the station wagon, these jumping curbs and back of the cars on fire and all that kind of stuff. So be interesting to see because their last game is today, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, and then and don't forget, MLB did come down on Marge Schott. They basically forced
her
out
to sell too. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they forced her to sell.
Yeah, see, look, there you go.
There's video right there. What was 1.8? I think it was, what was the price tag in Vegas? $1.8 billion to build a baseball stadium.
Yeah, it's costly, but they, like I said, they don't have a full. I don't think any of that has been approved by the Vegas people for them to play. But see, look, there's the video too of them taking seats. Dudes literally unbolting seats out of the Oakland Coliseum, and
they're just going to let them take them out of
there. Try to carry them out of there.
Oh my goodness. What the hell are you doing bringing your tools in there to do that? I mean, what the hell?
You're just going to carry out a couple seats.
Hey, don't forget the Phillips head there. We got to unscrew this thing and put it in the backpack. They won't check it.
Hey, I brought these in with me.
Yeah, they're straight out of Compton.
I brought right, Brandon, we got to get a break in. Straight out of Compton.
There was a movie about that.
Yes, there was. I think there was a song too.
Yeah.
We've got to get a break in. When we come back, the conversation will continue. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Brandon Drum with us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. A good chunk of the afternoon actually looks like it's going to be dry across the Tennessee Valley. With that in mind, temperatures should climb into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Showers and thunderstorms are going to move back into our neck of the woods as we head into the later part of the afternoon, the evening, and then especially as we head into the overnight early into your Friday morning. Temperatures drop into the mid-60s. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky through Friday afternoon. It looks like the rain is going to come to an end for the most part. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's still a slow ride northbound on I-65. Had a wreck about the 334. That's Priceville. They got it out of the way. All the lanes are open, but traffic's backed up for several miles there. Parkway northbound at Green Cove's working. 565 eastbound at Research Park. No report of injury. They did have injuries reported Patterson Lane and Mount Lebanon. Still may be working 53 in Jeff Road. Do you need help on a temp project or maybe finding a new employee? Snelling can help. They also do background checks, computer assessments, and payroll. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Welcome back, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Talked Alabama, Georgia. We've talked a little Arkansas, Texas A&M. Down on the plains on Saturday. Oof, got a big one. And Oklahoma comes to town. And boy, you know what? When we were sitting in Dallas, SEC football media days, we were looking at this and we were saying, all right, Auburn should come in there. Peyton Thorne does what he's supposed to do. Everybody says he's improved. This could be potentially an undefeated Auburn team coming in against possibly a one-loss Oklahoma team, because maybe they get tripped up by Tennessee. Maybe they find a way to get and beat Tennessee at home. And it's like, okay, SEC road opener for Oklahoma. Auburn has a chance to stay undefeated, go maybe 8 wins, 9 wins with the projection. Boy, oh boy, the tones have changed since we left Dallas.
Well, they have, but I still was supremely impressed with Oklahoma defensively and the way they competed against Tennessee. No one was expecting, I don't think. I think it was a surprise to see the quarterback change. And I really honestly thought that Jackson Arnold would come back in the game in the second half. I was a little bit surprised. They went with a young guy. And then with Hawkins, they announced him as the starter on Monday. This was, Auburn will not announce anyone until Saturday, but right before the kickoff, I would imagine. Or it'll leak out, on probably on Saturday morning.
Right.
But Brent Venables getting ahead of this. He's making the switch. Very interesting because Oklahoma still has a lot to play for. But as you said, Scott, they got Texas coming up in the Red River rivalry. They need to get a win in the SEC. I didn't think they played that poorly, in the game against Tennessee in the kicking game. And then, of course, defensively, they just couldn't get anything going offensively until the fourth quarter. So this matchup with Auburn is going to be very interesting, and we're going to talk about it with the publisher of OU Insider, part of the Rivals Network, and Brandon Drum's going to rejoin us and kind of talk about the aftermath and where this season now has turned for Oklahoma. Brandon, welcome back to Huntsville. You're Drew and Scott. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
We're good. I know you're on with us in the summer. You've been on with us last week. You know Jackson Arnold and his family very well. I was a little surprised that they pulled the trigger and made the change and didn't go back to him. I thought maybe they were giving him a chance to take a breather or whatever near the end of the half, and he would come back out in the second half and try to get himself going. Were you surprised that they made the switch and they've stuck with it?
No, I wasn't surprised. Look, he's going to be a good player. He's a really good player. I'm not ready to write the ending of his book at Oklahoma yet, like some people. I think that he's young, right? He's the weird part is he ran the RPO game all through high school and was elite at it, like amazing at it. And for some odd reason, he's got the yips, and I don't know what it is, why it is. I think I've told you this before. My kid trains with him.
Yeah. Yep.
Just like we all have the same quarterback trainer and everything. And it's a weird deal. But I don't understand it. I don't know what happened to him. I think everything just kind of avalanched on him. And I think he felt the pressure. I think the pressure at Oklahoma you've got to be something special sometimes to put a whole state on your back, essentially. And I know there's Oklahoma State and Tulsa in this state, but you're talking about the one university that is directly in Oklahoma City metro, where there's nearly 2 million people. So you have a huge mass of people following you, and that doesn't even count the Dallas metro area that's only 2 hours south that covers it like it's one of their teams as well. So you've got a huge burden. It's almost like I guess I would make Georgia and the Atlanta area, right? Like that's
gotcha.
That's their team. So it's like there's a lot of pressure put on you, and so you either have it or you don't. Sometimes I think eventually I've seen players grow into it, but it takes a special kid to come in and be able to handle that as a 18, 19-year-old kid. So it's going to take some time for him, and if he doesn't, at the University of Oklahoma, I think at some point he'll be good wherever he transfers to. That's where it gets to, but I don't think anybody inside the programs waved the white flag on Jackson Arnold. It's just they needed to make a change. Michael Hawkins is a really good football player. He was really good in high school. People don't realize this, but his stats where he had, I think it was like 51 passing touchdowns as a senior. I think he had like 10 or 11 rushing touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. He only played 5 full games his senior season. So he only played 5 second halves his senior season. So think about that stat line I just threw at you. And he did that in 5A Texas football in Dallas Metro, which is considered some of the best football in all of America in high school. And he did that in halves. So he's a really good player. It's just he has a lot of pressure on him going into Auburn on the road for his very first start. So we're gonna see his mental makeup this weekend as well. He's not going to get the chance that Jackson had to have 4 home games or 3 home games, and then before the big national spotlight was put on you. So it's all going to be on him. 2:30, 3:30, wherever it is in Auburn on a Saturday, and we'll see what happens.
If Michael Hawkins goes out there and struggles and can't get this offensive, going, can't get it in gear, I mean, is it a case where we do see Jackson Arnold come off the bench?
I almost think you see Casey Thompson.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And this is why, because I think they're going to try to see what they're going to try to see what anybody can do to try to get the offense going. And I think it's ridiculous if you, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I think it would be ridiculous if you didn't go to Casey Thompson at this point, because Jackson struggle. I don't know that he's going to come in and be your fix-all, you know, on the heels of being essentially almost booed, right, in Norman, and then after 3 turnovers, and then you got Hawkins coming in. You got this kid, Casey Thompson's played in big games.
Oh, he has
in his career, and he's been good in big games in his career. So why would you not go to a 7-year guy that is finally healthy and might be able to, he's not going to crumble. So, I mean, like that's the one thing about Casey Thompson. Like the moment is not going to be too big for him. I think right now, if he would have been fully healthy when he showed up to Oklahoma, I think we might be talking about him as a starter, not even been questioning anything else. But he showed up. He had a torn ACL still. He had rehab, so he was put behind the 8 ball the second he got to Oklahoma, and everybody got a huge head start on him. So he's finally starting to catch up. But I mean, it's the middle of the season, so it's going to take something to get him out there on the field.
And how ironic that would be if he did take over in this game against Auburn and play well. He could potentially start the Red River game, and would he be the first quarterback that's ever started on both sides?
Yes, that has never happened. I can 100% tell you that has never happened.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Kirk Bowles.
His circumstances a little different. He's an OU guy growing up.
Oh yeah. I mean,
if you put Truster in him, I know him and his dad very, very, very well. If you put Truster in him, I think he would probably have taken that OU offer again. He wanted to be a little different growing up.
Yeah.
Casey's always kind of marched by his own beat. So. But now that he's back in Norman, this is he is about as happy as you could get. Like, he loves it. I mean, he feels at home for the first time. So
nice.
Like really, really at home. So very, very comfortable where he's at.
Well, and Scott kind of referenced it with Michael Hawkins, but his father's a former OU DB, played for Coach Stoops. So he knows about playing at OU. He's watched his father do it. I mean, how long a leash are they going to give him on Saturday against Auburn?
I think he'll get a little leash. I think he'll have. I don't think you're going to see it be real short. I think, but I mean, honestly, if it gets to where it was like it was with Jackson on Saturday, where it's just like the offense isn't moving and nothing seems to be going right, okay, you're probably going to have to do something. But I don't think it's going to get to that point, honestly. I'm not saying I think the offense is going to play amazingly well, but I think that he's going to play well enough that I don't think you're going to look at and go, well, you got to change quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I think there's obviously going to be some ups, downs, some pitfalls that they're going to have to fight through. But that always happens when you got a true freshman out there starting, particularly on the road for the first time. So I think anybody thinking the expectation is that he's going to go out there and just, now, and I'm not saying that he won't, because if I'm shocked and he goes out there and just lights it up, then he goes out there and lights it up. But I mean, we had Jake Crane on us yesterday, and he joked. He's a big Auburn guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But
we had him on this week.
He jokingly said that Auburn's the get right team for everybody in the SEC. But
well, it's Mississippi State. We actually said Mississippi State today.
Mississippi State too. Yeah, I think it's Mississippi State too. But he's an Auburn fan, so he takes it kind of personal. I think if Hawkins does go out there and do that, and like he plays amazing, then okay, he plays amazing. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to be good. I just think there's going to be times where you're like, okay, well, he's a freshman. That mistake was bound to happen eventually, type deal. So.
Aside from the quarterback play, what was the feeling about the Tennessee loss around the Oklahoma program?
Disappointment, huge disappointment, almost upset, mad, angry. I don't know any other way to describe it. I think everybody felt like the defense gave the OU offense every opportunity. I mean, they handed them the ball with like a 45-yard drive to go score. That's all they had to do. They handed them another 45-yard drive, and then they handed them a 4-yard drive to go score, and they couldn't do it. And so you look at that, and you're like, okay, something needed to change. And everybody's happy with the defense, though. I think America finally saw Oklahoma had a defense. I think that's kind of what Oklahoma fans are taking from it. Like, finally, everybody says Oklahoma's defense, but did they give up an offense to get to that point is the question.
Yeah, and then with what's the injury report at the wide receiver corps? Because I thought that was key. It became obvious early on that it was a battle of attrition in Norman against Tennessee with the wide receiver corps. He's been banged up all year. How healthy are they going to be Saturday?
I think you might see Dion Burks back out there, but outside of that, I think it's still everybody's pretty banged up.
Yeah.
You'll see. There's a new player that got moved over to the wide receiver position, and that is Jacoby Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He is a former, Rivals 100 type kid. He was an athlete. There was a lot of people that recruited him as a wide receiver. He played more wide receiver than defensive back, but OU wanted him as a defensive back. And I'll be quite honest, he's one of the best high school wide receivers I've ever seen in person. So I was shocked that Oklahoma didn't, when he went over there. Everybody was kind of shocked that he didn't just choose wide receiver. But OU wanted him at corner, so he chose corner. He's worked very hard to get into the rotation at corner, and now he's being asked to go over there and help save them at wide receiver, where they're down 4 of their top 5 starters. So, and maybe 5 of their top 5 starters. We'll see on Saturday. But so they've got him. He's 6'2", 210 pounds, 4'4", low 4'4" guy. Y'all can go watch his huddle. It's absurd at wide receiver, but. They have him out there, and BV was very complimentary. He's not a guy that likes to pump sunshine. He just said, like, this dude's a natural, and you can tell that he gets it at wide receiver, and he also understands the defensive side and leverage and stuff like that, because he's been playing corner for so long that it's probably going to help him a little bit, he thinks, at the wide receiver position. But we'll see. I don't think anybody thinks that 1 week at wide receiver is going to go out there and, have 100 yards or, 50 yards or whatever. But I think at some point this season, maybe come Texas in 2.5 weeks, that, maybe that's when you start to see Jacoby kind of make his mark at wide receiver. But that's where they're at right now at wide receiver. That's how far down they are, because they have so many injuries.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see this game. It's big. It's big for Oklahoma to get some confidence and stay in this SEC race. It's early in the race, but you don't want to get that second loss, especially with Red River coming up.
No, you don't. They need to get a win. They got to get a win here. And I don't even know how I feel about the game. I think Oklahoma's going to win, but I don't know. I feel like it's 2 handicapped kids going at it, what I mean, unfortunately. So,
well, I mean,
it is what it is.
At the rate Auburn's going, they'll just stand back. They'll give you the ball. They'll just hand it to you at some point.
Yeah, ironically, Oklahoma leads the nation in turnovers. Yeah, forced turnovers. So, there's that aspect of it too. So they made Tennessee cough up the ball twice.
Yes.
And before that, they'd been averaging 4 turnovers a game. So we'll see what Oklahoma's defense does this week in Auburn. You watch. This will be the one time that Auburn has turned the ball over all year to everybody, and OU leads the nation in turning the ball over or forcing turnovers, and it doesn't. There's not a single one that happens on Auburn's side. That would be just the luck of Oklahoma, ironically.
Well, good stuff. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage, Brandon. We always appreciate the insight.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. OUinsider.com. You can follow us at OU Insider on Twitter, at OU Insider on Instagram, at OU Insider on or OU Insider Official, I believe, on Facebook, or you can follow me at bdrum_rivals.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's get that final break in. We're going to run down all of the games. A lot of games on the gridiron tonight. I got a good list.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a new wreck coming in Morgan County, 65 northbound at Bethel Road. No injury reported. Also no injury, 20 in Newcomb with some eastbound blockage. Got Parkway northbound at Green Cove, 565 eastbound at Research Park. Both of those are no injury. 53 in Jeff Road, nobody hurt. Patterson Lane and Mount Lebanon did report with an injury. Still may be working on it. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Fall break looming around the corner.
Yeah.
A lot of teams playing high school football tonight.
Mm-hmm.
North Sand Mountain going to be at home with Valley Head. They're going to be playing. Belmont is going to host Red Bay. That's Belmont, Mississippi. So Red
By the
Bay
way, that's the Michael
annual
Jackson Bowl, you know.
Yeah.
Because he's now the head coach at Belmont. He coached Red Bay.
He used to coach at Red Bay. Very familiar to this area over here.
No question.
Sheffield is going to travel to Waterloo tonight. Colbert County and Deschler going to meet. At one time, that used to be a big-time like playoff meeting. Those two would meet in the playoffs back in the day. Phil Campbell's going to travel to Hackleburg. Sheffield is going to go to Waterloo tonight and go all the way up to the far corners. Lauderdale County is going to host Brooks. Westminster Christian Academy, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone 5 will have that one. They're going to welcome Hatton. And then Lexington, good friend over there at Lexington, Wilson. Wilson's going to travel to Lexington. Hartselle, which, by the way, they are in the 6A rankings. They are going to welcome Woodlawn, first ever meeting between the two there. And then, Auburn's at Moody, and then Mate Jemison and Sparkman tonight. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone 4 will have that one. So we got a pair of games for you, but there is a slew of games tonight all across North Alabama. A lot of it is because of spring break coming up. Some of it is weather related.
Well, it is. And, our team of the week, Bryant Bank team of the week, Sparkman Center is going for their third win in a row against Rico White and those May Jemison Jaguars. Should be a good one over at Milton Frank.
By the way, we're going to be out there at 3:10 today, right before their pregame meal. We are not eating the pregame meal.
Some people would wonder if that's why you did that, Scott. You were trying to have part of the pregame meal.
We're just presenting them their check for $500 today at 3:10. So that's what
we look forward to being out there.
Yes.
Thank you for working with us.
Yeah, it's you know what? Kudos to all the coaches that return texts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We love
we appreciate it all.
We love being a part of it and donating you $500.
Yes, we're giving you free money.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got to get a break in. 24 hours worth. We'll be back next.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle.